let's start on the topic. So, in the outline of my presentation, I'm going to briefly talk about the telemedicine and how it connects with electronic health record, and then how the standards and interoperability are important in this overall domain. Few of the standards that I'm going to cover from electronic health record standards for India, and briefly touch upon the other related guidelines which are there, and also kind of give some glimpse of how the EHR standard scope can be measured when we are designing or adopting telemedicine solutions, and the different efforts of Government of India towards the adoption of EHR standards, and a small use case of one of the software which is developed by CDAC Pune. So to start with, when we look at the digital healthcare ecosystem, all in all, we can imagine as multiple devices, services, solutions which are designed based on the needs of patients and are connected, and the data related to the health is available and shared between all of these care providers, all the stakeholders, whoever, whenever require this information about patient for improving the health status of the patient. So in this whole digital health ecosystem, telemedicine and the telehealth plays a very important role because of the fact that it aids in providing the healthcare reach to the farthest place within the country, and even it has an importance worldwide also. So let's try to see the definition of telemedicine and EHR and how it links with EHR. So WHO defines telemedicine as the delivery of healthcare services where distance is a very critical factor, uh, and the different healthcare professionals use ICT to exchange the information for diagnosis, treatment, and prevention of disease and the injuries of the patients, for research and evaluation, even for CME, in the interest of advancing health of patients ultimately. So the highlighted text on the definition here is talking about sharing of health information, and the captured and shared health information, clinical information within the telemedicine solution actually create electronic health record. It though has different names in the different context. In earlier lecture, you must have understood the depth of the PHR when it is being created and maintained and managed by patient. There is something called electronic medical record, which is created and maintained by the one particular entity or a healthcare provider, and a broader term is electronic health record, where the health data from multiple healthcare providers is available at one single form. So throughout the next slides in this lecture, I'm going to refer it generically as EHR. So let's see how the scope of EHR looks like in the telemedicine. So when we typically see the classic telemedicine would cover all the clinical information or capture all the clinical information which are very much specific to the case. So for example, you have the present complaints, advice, medications, the prescriptions created, summary of consultation, etc. would be available in a telemedicine. But when we try to extend the scope of the telemedicine to have an integrated EHR, we have to look at more and more, and a very huge range of clinical information that can be captured, including the diagnostic tests, reports, results, the procedure notes, which are received so from one or the other different systems within the telemedicine application. So just was trying to provide the difference between a classic telemedicine and a telemedicine which has an complete EHR available. So then, talking about the data, we know we just try to show how the healthcare data flows within Indian healthcare system, where we have the different health centers set up based on the level of prevention that are needed. So we have broadly two types of providers: the private and the public healthcare providers, where the different set of hospitals, clinics, nursing homes are there available. Then we have at rural place, we have SCs, PHCs, CSCs there to provide healthcare at those basic level. And and the similar structure at the urban side. And I think when we talk about telemedicine, the similar kind of data flow also happen. So not only telemedicine, in any electronic health record system, the similar way the data flow will happen, and slowly it would amalgamate to form an EHR, PHR, or EMR. And then how this data flow happens is the important aspects of this data are the data content itself, what kind of data is being shared, and then the information exchange in the sense which all entities are interacting. You have data coming in from pharmacies, the IPDs, OPDs, OTs, labs, and the different systems which are there placed at different places. And then how do you ensure the security and privacy of the data, which was just a few minutes back was talked in terms of the importance of security and privacy. So the one more, so when talking about the data content itself, the next level of complexity that the healthcare data brings in is its heterogeneity. It's not the same way the data in the other different domains like finance it is. We have the different kinds of data in healthcare, starting from patient demographics. You have the diagnostic reports, you have lab tests where you want to keep all the information about the laboratory tests, including the reference ranges, the unit of measurement, and the method used for testing. Then there is a different set which include diagnosis, observation. You have medications as a completely different set of information. So it gives a complete different dimension of complexity of data in healthcare. And then talking about the data semantics, where the medical vocabulary itself is very, very vast. The healthcare provider use multiple terms to refer to a single clinical information. A few of the example noted here, I may not go into the details because of the audience already are from the same domain. And then how do you kind of, you have this problem of, so this information when available to healthcare providers, visibly they can definitely understand and identify. But when we talk about a complete integrated ecosystem, how the computer system understand this information as the same, say for example MI or myocardial infarct are the same terms, how do computer system understand this and provide us the amalgamated analytics and the different kinds of feature on the data, on top of the data. So that become a challenge in healthcare. So one of the example of the health data semantics is the very commonly used HOA as acronym in healthcare domain, and it can have different meaning in, like you can brief is as hand osteoarthritis or even the hypertrophic osteoarthropathy. So these are the problems, but then how do we kind of achieve, and these are the problem of interoperability. So the term interoperability is seamless understanding of the information in the same way the source has provided. So how do we address and achieve this interoperability between these healthcare systems, and telemedicine being one of them? So so the interoperability can be achieved if and only if we have the common understanding of data of identification of patient. We just talked about health identifiers. A common understanding of the data structure. So in computer systems, in softwares, you have the different data types, fields, the common understanding of those data types, the common understanding of the content itself, whether this is text or this is a number, whether this is a numerated value or something else. So the common format of the data in terms of syntactic understanding, and then a common semantic understanding of the data. So this all can only be achieved using standards. So standards are key to achieve interoperability. So they allow recording of data at appropriate levels of details at different places, and then you can use standardized data to query it at the same level or at lesser detail level. You can have querying of data. You can do a lot of patient support related activities on top of that data. It enables query across the data captured between different disciplines, different specialities, and even the different domains. And the most important part is it helps us to build the longitudinal health record. So imagine that you have all the software systems adhering to the at least while sharing, adhering to the same data format, can actually give data point in time at one single place. You need not rewrite for reporting a particular case to municipal corporation. You did not fill a new different form altogether for reporting to another agency. You have all the data in standardized format, and each system accepts that data. So it makes the whole seamless workflow of the healthcare data flow. And of course it can then have multiple advantages, including point of care analytics, like you can have quick billing, reimbursement, decision support on top of the data. You can even have population based analytics. You can quickly look for the public health, the trend analysis. You can even look for doing the healthcare service planning at hospital level, and even the public health surveillance at the government level, and the clinical research also. So how can we achieve standards? So Government of India has already taken initiatives towards this, and EHR standards for India have been notified. They were notified first in 2013 and then were updated in 2016. These were notified by our Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. So this EHR standards for India provides a detailed recommendation of various aspects of EHR system standardization. So we talked about the three different aspects: data content, the exchange, and also the security privacy. In all of three different domains, the standards have been provided. Short guidelines are also provided for implementation. They are very much for implementers, but what the doctors also or the healthcare providers should also know is such standards are available and they should be adopted in the healthcare systems, including telemedicine. And the overall vision is to build a complete interoperable healthcare ecosystem in the country. So these are the broad coverages of EHR standards. So there are standards notified for identification, for creating demographics records of the patient. So if you have the what kind of patients related demographics information you should keep, whether you should keep patient name, gender, and other details, and what should be the structure, whether you need to keep first name, middle name, last name, and which one is mandatory, which should be required. All of these are provided by standard to make all the healthcare systems come at one place and be able to share data in seamless manner. So there are standard for architecture of the software. There are standards which talks even about the functional requirement, what types of function a software should support. And even there are standards for terminology, clinical terminology, coding systems, and so on. So there is a list of standard provided. These all standards are picked up from international standards, and even the few of the national standards have been adopted. So I'm going to just give some brief aspects of these four broad areas in terminology and coding standards, in medical imaging standard, and some part I am going to touch upon from the security and privacy, is essentially from the consent management part, and not from the detailed technical specification of managing security and privacy. So coming on to the terminology standard, SNOMED CT is one of the clinical terminology which is being adopted and being recommended in EHR standards for India. It is maintained and distributed by SNOMED International, also known as ISTSDO. It has about 40 members who owns and manages the decisions of SNOMED International. And the purpose of this standard is to support semantic interoperability. So in the diagram, you can see one single renal cancer term is referred in multiple ways, but have been identified with one single code. So it makes it easy for underlying system to identify that clinical term uh, do whatever processing they can do on that clinical term. So this is how the structured terminology works. So broad coverage of SNOMED City. So SNOMED City is uh, covers around 18 major healthcare domain. It has the clinical terms, concepts defined for diagnosis, symptoms, laboratory procedure, treatment, and so on. And it contains more than 350,000 unique clinical concepts and around 1.5 million descriptions of these concepts. And all of these concepts are interlinked with each other with more than 3 million relationships between them. So these codes can be extended for our own country specific requirement and very useful in research, data analytics, and clinical decision support. So this is a brief data model for SNOMED City standard, where the clinical concept myocardial infarction is being defined with two defining relationship, saying it has an associated morphology or as infarct and finding site as myocardium structure. And then it is broadly classified under other multiple parent disease types like ischemic heart disease, myocardial disease, and so on. So how does SNOMED City looks like in health record? So let me just try to use the pen, and if you can see here under symptoms, you can just simply search and put up all these symptoms within the health record. It doesn't show anything for clinician. It is as good as simple clinical terminology, just that it is standardized and is very useful for the computer systems. And when it is being shared over network through the communication systems, this is how it looks like. Just for the sake of understanding, the code gets shared with the term and what is the identified terminology which is called as the code system, defined here as SNOMED City. So it will be as simple as it is on the communication also. And few aspects of SNOMED City usage in India. So NRCS is the National Release Center for SNOMED City in India, and in India we have more than 600 roughly registered implementers who have integrated SNOMED City already within their softwares. Uh, the common drug codes for India, which was released by NRCS, is also can be plugged into SNOMED City to support drug codification within our country. And SNOMED City also has been extended by NRC to support patient instruction language set in Hindi. So the patients can get information in Hindi when doctor puts it in English, and you can just simply print the record within Hindi about the instructions to take medicine. And then there are multiple extension. One of the important work that is started is creating Ayush extension for SNOMED City. So the body structure, clinical finding, and disorder hierarchies are going to be translated in the Ayush terminology in Sanskrit, Urdu, and Siddha, which can then later help in achieving interoperability between Ayush systems also with allopathy. And we have also created some department and national program related subsets of SNOMED City in assistance with AIMS New Delhi. So the next standard code is LOINC, which is Logical Observation Identifiers, which is a universal standard for identifying medical and laboratory observation. It is created and maintained by Regenstrief Institute at US. It's a not-for-profit organization, and the only coding system for laboratory coding. And the code itself would have multiple information of that laboratory test. Say, for example, the code here seen on the slide would tell about the glucose measurement in moles per volume in urine by an automated test strip. So everything coded with one single code. So this helps even the RIS and LIS to share data in a standardized manner. And this is how the LOINC code looks like. You can have the panel coded, and you can have the single codes also, single individual tests also coded. The third standard I would like to touch upon is the ICD standard, which most of the participants here attending would be aware about, but just one small introduction about it. It is being maintained and created by WHO. It is designed as a healthcare classification system for providing a system of diagnostic codes for classifying diseases, and it's being used for multiple purposes for aggregation of data to support decisions and policy by our government to conduct epidemiological research of health trends. It also allows health data comparison in the same location across different periods. So you can do a lot of monitoring of evidences and prevalence of diseases using ICD. So this is how ICD coding system looks like. Uh, a few examples here. You can see the code for common code. Common code looks like J001, while acute sinusitis has the code J001 with all the inclusions and exclusions of the meaning of code defined then and there. So how can we use ICD-10 with other standards like SNOMED-CT? The granular data entry happens in SNOMED in health records, while the standard SNOMED-CT to ICD-10 mapping is available, and the automated or semi-automated ICD-10 codes can be generated for reporting of epidemiology and insurance purposes. The third standard I'm going to touch upon is the DICOM, which is in medical imaging standard. It is developed by American College of Pathology and NEMA together, and it provides a global specification for exchanging medical images, essentially in radiology, pathology, cardiology, and related disciplines. So, for example, it standardizes the output of medical imaging hardware like X-ray, CT, or MRI machines, and softwares like PACS and radiological reporting. Um, and the fourth aspect I'm going to touch upon the consent management. So there's something called informed consent term coined in the telemedicine practice guideline, and also for using the NDHM healthcare ecosystem also. So that has to be taken for collection of data and use of data in healthcare, and the applicable standards are also there defined. So you have the consent management standard which has to be implemented, and the MITI consent management framework, which is released by Ministry of IT. They together forms a consent management framework for India, and which has been adopted by the ABDM implementation also. The third, the guideline that is very important to look at from the telemedicine practice is the TPG guideline, which I think is going to be explained further in further lectures in detail. But it's being released by Ministry of Health again, along with MCI and other important entities together. And the guideline permits doctor to provide teleconsultation, prescribe medicine, provide the counseling, and provide even use it for health education also. So this was a very, very important move to promote contactless and efficient healthcare treatment for COVID positive and as well as the vulnerable patients during the pandemic. And there are other similar guidelines which are notified for different domains, including tele psychiatry, and also for the traditional medicines and homeopathy as well. So let's talk about how this set of EHR standards are there, and how they are relevant in telemedicine, and which one to pick for what cases. This is a small slide created by me based on the understanding. So we typically look at different use cases of telemedicine. One would be starting from a very simple case discussion, and then further the scope increases for diagnosis and treatment, and then later to the patient engagement, and then the further expanded scope is monitoring and the care coordination. So for different type of use cases, I have kind of identified few of the EHR standards that you can look at or you can ask for when you are adopting a telemedicine software. So for simple case discussion, which can just happen over a video conference or a telephone, where you are not capturing any of the clinical information, you're not storing any of the data, most of the standards applicable would be the security, connectivity standard, software and hardware standards for ICT communication. However, if you want, if the scope is not limited to just the case discussion, and you want to further do diagnosis and treatment over telemedicine, then most of the time, apart from video conferencing, you will need case consultation and record exchange also, where all of the different EHR standards would be applicable, including the identification standard. You are sharing information, so information exchange standard, terminology and coding standards, data security and privacy, because you're going to store the data, data access, and even the confidentiality related standards, and the treatment summary related standard, e-prescription standards for that matter. When you want to increase the scope to patient engagement, you most probably want to use, apart from these two cases, you most probably also want to use remote devices for patient monitoring, the patient portal also, which was just discussed in the last lecture, the mobile apps also integrated with it. So most probably you need to look at all the different aspects of EHR standard, and mostly all of the EHR standards would be applicable. The relevant one have to be picked, choose and adopted. And when there is only monitoring and care coordination, then there is a different set of standard that may have to be looked into. So this actually brings us to again the question on understanding for what purposes the telemedicine has been adopted or has been designed or implemented. Now I'm just going to present a small case presentation of Mercury telemedicine software, which is developed by CDAC Pune Center. Uh, so this are few of the salient features of the software, where it has an integrated EHR, EMR for the healthcare providers. You can set up the software for a particular hospital also, based on the requirement, different departments, different roles. It uses Nomad-City and ICD-10 for capturing of clinical information. The software has case and visit based paradigm, where you can have a patient details and then create a case, and then in that case the patient comes for multiple visits, so all of the information can be kind of captured and captured, stored and represented in a case visit paradigm manner. It has integrated imaging features where it supports DICOM standards apart from the other imaging formats, which are even recommended by EHR standards for India, like JPEG, lossless, JPEG, BMP, and other imaging standards. It has the image annotation features like hot metaling, zoom in, zoom out, and other imaging features which may be needed for case consultation. It supports the different health records types like clinical, pathology related, imaging reports, advices, prescription, even supports DTPG and PCA prescription standards for e-prescription. And apart from that, the telemedicine features are already there, of course. And two of the interoperability standards, HL7 and DICOM, are being supported. And the software supports role-based access control, data encryption, password hashing for database level security. This is how the clinical terminology integration looks like, where you can see in the screenshot the allergies have been captured from SNOMED-CT, and the other details are taken. And this is how the DICOM based medical imaging is being integrated. You can see the multi-view DICOM files can also be viewed and seen, multi-frame DICOM images. And then this is how the prescription gets generated, where common records for India have been integrated here. And I'm now going to talk about, this is all about the software, where I just wanted to provide some glimpse of how standards can be integrated, and you don't see anything on the screen, on the software itself. It is everything at the back end, you need to have standardized data. So coming on to the efforts towards standardization that are being taken by the Government of India and the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. India has become member of SNOMED International around in September 2014, where India pays the membership fees, which makes SNOMED City free for usage within India for all the implementers, all the healthcare providers as well as implementers. The NRC for SNOMED City has been set up at CDAC Pune, and even for supporting all the EHR standard integration, the National Resource Center for EHR Standard have been set up in 2017. The standard adoption has been promoted at center as well as state level through various orders, and centers and states have been asked to put standard as foremost requirement for procuring any healthcare softwares. MOHFW has also released the National Digital Health Blueprint in 2019, where it specifically mentions use of digital health standard covering different aspects of content exchange and security. So coming on to the Ayushman Bharat Digital Mission, which is earlier called NDHM, Ayushman National Digital Health Mission, which aims to kind of develop a complete backbone which is necessary to support integrated digital health infrastructure for the country. And the aim is to have a universal health coverage for the citizens, which was announced in 2020 August by our Honorable Prime Minister. And after the successful pilot implementation in 6UT, a nationwide implementation is announced just last month, September 27, 2021. And the important part is the ABDM adopts all the standards as envisaged in NDHB. So ABDM is tasked to adopt all of these healthcare standards so that any healthcare application, any softwares, any telemedicine solutions which are developed in India and want to onboard on the ABDM platform, they have to support standard, which will make sure that the data is interoperable at all the disparate software system. Although we have the distributed environment of healthcare services, but when data sharing happens through ABDM, it will be in a standardized format. So coming about the National Resource Center for EHR Standard, this has been set up by Ministry of Health and Family Welfare at CDAC Pune. This resource center facilitates adoption of EHR standards in India. It helps in understanding standards. We provide education, training on standards, help to even evaluate whether the appropriate integration has been done or not. And in fact, the implementation support for integration of standard is also provided. The resource center also provides free and open source softwares, libraries, which can ace standard integration. So reducing complexity of implementation as much as possible. That's the aim of the NRCES. A few of the notable developments that happened in 2020, just to give a glimpse that NRCS has worked to come up with this telemedicine registry through the alliance of different entities, where we found that there are around 109 telemedicine applications available in India for different use cases. 109 is a huge number. And the eSanjeevani OPD software from CDAC was deployed for during this COVID-19 pandemic period, and it has more than 10 lakh teleconsultations in government hospital. The important part is eSanjeevani also integrates a few of the important healthcare standards, including SNOMED City. The NDHM, now called ABDM, has 300 plus implementers now on their platform and who are trying to integrate their solutions. So we'll have 300 plus standard compliant applications. And in over NRCS website, there are more than 22 self-declared standard compliant healthcare applications, and there are many public and private standard implemented telemedicine solutions also available. So that's the glimpse of what is happening. on a positive note. And my concluding remark for the lecture would be, yes, of course, telemedicine is one of the key tools for healthcare delivery in India as well as abroad. And health IT standards are the core requirement for future of telemedicine architectures. And I would urge that everyone should design, develop, and even adopt highly flexible, user friendly, yet interoperable solutions in telemedicine. Uh, and these are the few references for audience, and thank you so much.